Sup, I'm Ellie and welcome to the channel. And this video, we are going to do the next step in the 5-part style challenge. Last week I asked you to draw a seal that represents you as an artist, and this week what we're going to do is discover our baseline. I already did this part and I showed you guys in last week's video what my baseline is. I'll show you again. Here it is here. But I'm going to recreate it for this video. Not that artwork, just recreate in that style what my baseline is. A baseline is what you naturally instinctively do without giving it much thought, without thinking too much about what it is you're wanting to create. And I know that sounds kind of like, but what the heck are you talking about? Because we're constantly making choices with every line or stroke we make. And you're right, we do. But we get so used to what we do that we get to a point where we start doing those things habitually without actually giving it real thought. The baseline is important because it shows you what you naturally do, and as you're exploring style, you want to break patterns and you want to move away from what you usually do. So it's really just like a ground zero to give you an idea and clarity as to what are the things you usually do. And I did get a question once where someone asked, but can't you just use some of your recent artworks instead of creating something from scratch? Yes, you absolutely can. But also, since this is a journey, why not mark it with creating your baseline from scratch? But also, you don't have to do that. If you want to rather use one of your most recent artworks or even a couple of your most recent artworks, that's fine. You can use that to observe and look at what you naturally do and what your habits are. So do what you usually do exactly the way you do it without changing a dang thing. Let's make some art. Starting with this gal, and it was a tough week, okay? And by the time I sat down to draw, all I wanted to do was just get in the zone. So I put some blues saxophone in the background and got into it, blissfully doing my thing. But something was off. So naturally, I decided to start over. And while this wasn't really off, there was just something about it that was just not landing. So I did what any reasonable artist would do. Yup. Trusting the process. Allegedly. The process doesn't look the same to everyone, okay? Anyway, so far as you can see, we're making excellent decisions. But something was still off, and we're not done yet. So, I did what had to be done. But this was still not right. So I took a step back, gave it some thought, and my brain finally caught up. Let's run the clip. So do what you usually do exactly the way you do it without changing a dang thing. Without changing a dang thing. Without changing a dang thing. Yes, without changing a dang thing. This video is about creating your baseline. My only job was to change nothing, so naturally, I changed things. This is what I was saying in last week's video. Once you get into exploration mode, it's hard to go back to what you habitually do. I ran a version of this challenge live on TikTok over a couple of days, and I saw it with some of the participants as well. The instruction was, don't change anything. Do what you usually do exactly the way you do it. And they too, just like what I just did, went into exploration mode. Interesting how that works. Anyway, at this point, the eagle had landed. Now I was doing what I usually naturally do. So I am happy to announce that this was in fact the last version. There was no starting over after this. But as a side note, I will say that I did not have nearly as fun with this drawing as I had with some of the previous ones where I was exploring with style. And even though I kept true to what I usually do, I kept wanting to change things. Before I continue though, let's take a moment to just appreciate the vibrancy and those colors. Watercolors and Prismas is a match made in heaven. But I did add just a touch of oil pastels as well. The white, as usual. I'm out of white supplies, and so it's always just to bring back some of those highlights, and the oil pastels do it so well. Until I got to this part, and then I was no longer so impressed with the colors. I think I took it too far. Sometimes one needs to know when to stop. I don't think I always know where that line is. The good news though is I trusted the process for real this time and did not start over. But I will say too, I am not all that pleased with the outcome. Anyway, here she is in all her glory. I decided to go with yellow as the background. I thought it would make it pop because yellow sits opposite purple on the color wheel, but I was mistaken. It in fact did the opposite. It dulled it out. I am so displeased with the outcome of her that she doesn't even get a name. As tax, I decided to add in this clip where I was working on one of the prior drawings that is not within what I usually do, but one that I really liked doing and really think is turning out quite cute. Not quite the point of this video. The point of this video is to go to your baseline, to do what you naturally instinctively do. But just because I was so displeased with the outcome, I wanted to add just something a little extra. She is not done though. She is a work in progress, but she is real cute. And she will get a name. Just look at that. Just look at that. Isn't she so cute? The colors, the vibrancy. Anyway, that is unfortunately it for this video, but I am so sorry to say that I have again forgotten to record an outro. Thank you for your time. Thank you for watching. And if you enjoyed this video, please like it and come back next week for the next one where we move on to the next part of the challenge.